But yeah, this is gonna take some time, in my opinion.
So you want to just push those two until after the 16th of July when they get?
Yeah.
And we just won't work on anything until we have more information from that workshop?
Okay. I would like to see some consistency and continuity, however.
Yeah.
Not a quarter mile for this, a half mile for that, a mile for that.
Right.
And the only name present that I see on this other one from late 2008 or 9 is say.
Did you have a lifelong term here?
She obviously has not found her replacement yet.
No, I know. Moving on. We talked about Janet attending that. CO2 direct air capture facility.
That's a new one too. That'll be discussed on the 16th of July as
Oh,
well.
good, we can move on then. Okay.
Or they said they were planning to. I don't know if they will or not.
I wouldn't really know what you're talking about.
Right, and Morton County just started theirs, which would be,
As I understand it, they have a huge fan system which sucks in air and somehow separates the CO2 out of it and then expels the rest. It's mind-boggling to us.
Really? Huh.
So don't need the pipelines.
Okay. Well, Janet, you have a busy
There
day.
again, huge users of power.
Yeah, right. Okay, I think this last one is the easiest.
So Mike Elvishire was in my office, and I told him I would speak to you guys about what he should do. He wants to tear down his house because of whatever reasons, and he wants to replace it in the same spot as where the original house from 1900 was, with like a modular or something like that. The problem is that we have a 200-foot setback from the right-of-way of a county road, and he's on a county road. He's at about 140, 150. They measured it out. I told him I would find out whether, and I gave him the variance application, but I wasn't sure if, because he's replacing an existing one with a new one, if he would need a variance or not. And I told him I would tell him later tonight if he should fill out the paperwork or not, because I wasn't sure what you guys would decide.
So is this the house that they had moved there? It was originally
That-
built in
yeah,
1900.
That
I
is-
think it was the original house that was there, then he had that one move from here out there. That's the way I'm understanding it.
Well, it sounded like he was going to, is there
There was
a
no
second
house.
house out there?
There was no house out prior.
Okay.
Not on that land. They
Right.
moved that house there.
They built.
That's
their-
why, where does he
the
get this
build-
1900?
The house
The house
was
is
originally built in
And
1900.
it was right here beside the elevator.
Right.
Yeah,
That's where it comes from.
yeah.
So, you know, it's been there prior to the 2008 ordinance, you know, when that came into play. So it was grandfathered in at that time because it was already there.
I think you would have a hard time though, in any circumstance where, you know, you can't follow old code by
Right.
replacing a building.
Right.
You have to, everything's got to be updated to present day code.
So,
So that being said, I would suspect that if the only way the structure stays there and meets zoning is if it's the same structure.
so he would need to fill out the variance and
Yeah,
follow
that
all
would
of
be
that,
my
which
take.
is fine,
That'd
because
be my take too.
I'll have to reread the ordinance, but I think there's a public hearing needed on that as well. So, and he wants to move the house on this summer, so I mean, if he could get me the paperwork ASAP, we could probably combine.
Do the same at this
Yeah.
next meeting.
And
I doubt very seriously there would be a whole lot of objection to the
Right.
variance, but
Right.
I think it's
And that's
something
what I
that you
told
have
him
to go
too.
through.
I figured it would not be a huge deal, but we need to go through the proper channels.
Yep, I agree. Because it is a new structure.
Right.
You're not
And
remodeling,
it's
you're
not like it's
not.
like a modular or something that he's moving in.
So are they gonna try to use the basement?
I don't know, I did not
I'm
ask.
guessing that's the case because the basement's new.
That's what he's
You
wanting.
know, when they moved the old house on, it was on this
Yeah,
new.
I didn't ask any further questions other than I would ask about the variance portion.
He put a basement with his moving house.
Or at least a footing, or, you know.
So now the final thing is to determine what date you want your public hearing to be, which gives me enough time to figure out how quickly I need to write the ordinance. I do have the 19th reserved for this, however, it's also the first day of the fair. So do you really want to have it on the first day of the fair, or do you want to have it on the week after, like the 24th, I believe, or something along the way?
I'll be gone either way.
Okay.
Sure.
I got the fair, I got.
Me too, so, I'd be able to, what's that?
19th or 24th.
I would, it doesn't make any difference, I would be gone either way, but I'd be happy to join you on the phone.
The 19th is a Thursday night.
Yeah, the 19th is the first
Boone
day of
and
the
I are
fair.
cooking.
Can't do it 7 because of 2 weeks.
Well, if you did it,
Weekend before is all school reunion.
so
I
if
think-
I
I'm
hurried
good.
up,
I would sneak into that very next week for sure.
so,
Yeah.
so
let's-
basically, if we set it on the 19th, I would have to have it in the paper the 17th and the 14th, or the 7th and the 14th. Because that would be 2 weeks in the paper. But that means that I'd have to have all of this written by tomorrow night. And I
I
have-
prefer the 24th.
Whereas if you waited till the 24th, I could put it in the 14th and the 21st. Or even later,
Before the
or the
July
24th or the 26th, you know, Tuesday or Thursday. I don't care,
For example,
but hold that thought, because I better look at the calendar to make sure this room is open.
On the count,
So,
It's the fair, so.
yeah, either of those days, the 24th or the 26th work.
24th or 26th.
That's Thursday.
26th is a Tuesday.
Oh, 24th is a Tuesday.
Yep.
Not bowling night, on.
What do you want to do? 24th, 26th?
24th.
That's a
24th?
Tuesday, that'll work. Want it?
Yep.
24th.
So do you want it at 7 p.m. again?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, and as soon as I get this written, I will put it on our county zoning page on the website. I will get it submitted to paper, and I will email it out to you guys. Hopefully by the weekend, but I got equalization on Thursday, so. Busy. One last thing to the public, please make sure that you sign in and write legibly so that I don't misspell your name in my minutes, because I
This
don't
being a
recognize
public
letters very
meeting,
well
we need to
sometimes.
have an accurate, count as to who's here. Want to be legal here.
There's a couple of times I had to Google them, because I'm like, I don't know if that's the mark.
All right, anything else?
Yes,
Motion to adjourn? Moved by Warren.
second.
Carries. Thank you, guys.
And after the 16th of July, I will figure out another regular meeting to do a public hearing.
Yeah, good luck.
Schedule.